What's going on, everyone? I'm back here with another unboxing video, and today I have actually a pretty cool unboxing, something that I actually didn't expect to be unboxing today, and that is the iPhone X. So today is the launch day for the iPhone X, and yeah, and the crazy thing is I actually did manage to, I didn't pre-order it, mind you. I actually just walked into the Apple Store today around like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I just walked in. They reserved me a time, and essentially an hour later I walked out with an iPhone X in my hand. So I was really shocked that happened because of the whole shortage problem that has supposedly been happening with this device. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the unboxing video. So the model I have here is the Sprint Silver 64 gigabyte configuration. And you can also pick it up in a 256 gigabyte configuration as well for those that need more storage space. I do find it a little odd, however, that Apple only provides or offers 2 storage configurations to choose from. So I found that a little interesting. And you do have 2 color options. You have silver and space gray. Again, I have the silver model here. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the box. So of course on the top here we have front of the phone showing off the display, which is the main new feature of this iPhone. On this side we have iPhone, Apple logo, and iPhone again. And on the back we just have our barcode information and then 64 gigabyte right there. So let's go ahead and peel this plastic tab, flip it over, there we go, take that off. Alright, so let's go ahead and lift the tab. Actually, the box actually came off much smoother than previous versions. Anyway, so we have designed by Apple in California, which this is our literature, which says hello, which is the quick start guide. You can see how to navigate and operate the phone. Pretty basic stuff. Warranty guide, regulatory information, and then, of course, the 2 famous Apple stickers is always there. So right away, we see the phone sitting right here underneath that. So here we are. In person, this thing actually looks really, really cool. From the pictures, it seemed a lot bigger than what it is. But seeing this for the first time, it is actually really, really small. I'm very surprised. Anyway, so let's go ahead and set that off for just a minute. And then the other stuff we get in the box is very similar or pretty much the same as previous versions of the iPhone. So we have the little power brick right here, that we have our ear pods with the lightning connector, and then on the back, of course, you have your headphone jack adapter, because of course this version of the iPhone still does not have a headphone jack built in. And then down below we have the lightning to USB cable for syncing and charging. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on from that. So that's everything in the box. Let's go ahead and get back to the phone itself. As you can see right away, the phone is completely dominated by a display. There is essentially no buttons on this at all. Big note that you can see right here is there is no home button. So everything is basically gesture-based now to navigate and operate the entire phone. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a quick hardware tour and see what we got going on here. So again, there's no home button. So the display is a 5.8-inch OLED Super Retina display, as Apple calls it, and it has a resolution of 2436 by 1125 with a PPI of 458, which is actually a pretty decent resolution. It's not on par entirely with a 1440p display, so it's a little less than that. And the aspect ratio is also kind of interesting because it's a much taller display than a normal phone display. So the aspect ratio is a little bit higher or taller than a 16 by 9. Anyway, moving to the top of the display, we have the infamous notch that everybody's been talking about, that houses the earpiece receiver for phone calls, the front-facing camera, as well as the new Face ID sensors that replaces the Touch ID that was inside the home button. So you use this Face ID feature, which allows you to unlock your phone using your face, which is interesting. I'll have to go ahead and try that out and see how well that'll actually work. But anyway, Moving to this side, we have our volume up and down buttons, our vibrate switch, which is still here, so I'm glad Apple kept that. On this side, we have our sleep wake button, which has kind of gotten us a little bit larger now, as you can see. And another thing is that the sleep wake button has become a multi-function button, essentially. So when you hold it down, it activates Siri. Double pressing it activates Apple Pay. And then, of course, pressing it once will lock and unlock your device. So that's cool. On the bottom here, we have the speaker grills, the microphone, and then the lightning connector. And again, there's no headphone jack to be seen, unfortunately. Top, we have nothing. Moving to the back, we have the completely new design of the phone on the back side as well. So the entire back portion of this phone is now entirely made out of glass, which makes way for the new wireless charging that this phone does offer, which is super, super nice. And as you can see, it is very reminiscent of the iPhone 4 with the way the white glass kind of shines through, which is really, really nice. And then right here we have our new camera module, which is now vertical instead of horizontal, which is an interesting design change. And it does offer the dual lens setup, just like the iPhone 8 Plus. But the difference with this one is that both cameras now have optical image stabilization, meaning that if you use the telephoto lens, you're going to get much better low light performance now that it has image stabilization in the telephoto camera. And then you also have the True Tone flash in the middle here, as well as your microphone on the right side of the camera module. Anyway, it looks like the phone has actually powered itself on, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, since the phone is on now, you can see that notch right away. Any screen on the device that is white, it basically stands out very prominently. So like on this screen here, you can really, really see it. There are some apps though, like the calculator, that will kind of blend in with the notch, meaning that the top half of the screen will go black, basically making the notch melt into the rest of the display so you can't see it. Anyway, let's go ahead and give a quick rundown of some of the main tech specs that we're going to come to find in this new iPhone. So again, the display is a Super Retina HD display. It has a 1 million to 1 contrast ratio, which is actually pretty good. It also supports True Tone display, which will basically dynamically change the color of the display for the situation or lighting situation that you're in, which is really cool. It has the wide color gamut, of course, to give better color. It still supports 3D touch. It's fingerprint resistant, oleophobic, and all that good stuff. So basic stuff there. It does also have HDR technology now built in, so you can have HDR within your display, which is super nice. It is also still rated at IP67 dust and water resistant, so the water resistant, or waterproofing rather, is still not some of the best that you can find on a smartphone nowadays. It's still something that you do not want to completely submerge the phone in water, because that could still be a problem. But it is good for quick splashes, or if you use it in the rain or whatever have you, should be just fine. The processor now has been upgraded to the A11 Bionic chip with a 64-bit architecture, meaning we now have a 6-core processor, essentially meaning that you have 2 high-efficiency cores and 4 power-efficient cores, basically meaning that the overall phone's performance is going to be way better than it has been in the past. This is also the same processor that you're going to find in the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus as well. And then you also do get the M11 Motion coprocessor, which is what is allowing the iPhone 10 and iPhone 8 to have augmented reality within the camera system. So you can do AR now with this new iPhone, which is really, really neat. That is something I'm going to test out and see how well that will work. Anyway, moving on. Back to the cameras. The front-facing camera is basically called True Depth now. So the whole front-facing camera system is now called True Depth, and it is a 7-megapixel camera that can record 1080p HD video, and it can also now support the portrait mode that the rear-facing camera has. So because of that new facial recognition software, or hardware rather, you can now have portrait mode and depth sensing with the front-facing camera, which is super, super neat. It has an f2.2 aperture and all the basic photo features that you'll come to expect from the front-facing camera. The rear-facing camera is still a 12 megapixel wide-angle and telephoto cameras. The wide-angle is a 1.8 aperture and the telephoto is a 2.4 aperture. And then you have the optical zoom, of course, up to 10x, including that telephoto lens. Alright, so let's go ahead and set up the phone now and show you guys what the setup process looks like on the iPhone X. A new thing now is that you saw it just there. You can actually use the display now as a button to wake up the device. So you can see you can tap it and it wakes up. So that's really cool. That's a nice new little feature. So anyway, to get started, now since there's no home button, you have to swipe up like so. There we go. And then so we're going to go ahead and hit English, United States. And then you do have an option of quick setup. Basically, if you're going to be transferring data from your old iPhone over to the new one, Apple now offers this new feature that allows you to basically do all of that in one quick step and it really quickly and transfer all your data over to the new phone without needing to actually press any extra buttons. But anyway, in this case, we're going to do setup manually. So hit that. Then we're going to check Wi-Fi. Go ahead, type in my passcode. All right, we're going to go ahead and hit join now. There we go. Next. And then it's going to activate the phone. Okay, so now we are here to set up Face ID. I will do this off camera because it's kind of a process to do it. But from here you can do Face ID. But in this case, I'm going to go later in settings. I'm going to add a passcode later as well. So I'll do that at a different time. And then you can, of course, do your apps and data backup or restore. So we hit, but in this case, I'm going to do setup as a new iPhone. So now I'm going to type in my Apple ID information. All right, so now it wants us to agree to the terms and conditions. So we're going to go ahead and agree to that. Now it's asking for iCloud Drive. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off for now, for the time being. And then we have Express settings. So basically, Express settings will automatically turn on location services, Siri, as well as sending anonymous data. But in my case, I'm going to go ahead and customize the settings. Going to location services. This is to set up Hey Siri. I'm going to go ahead and do that later. Analytics, not share. And then True Tone Display. This is something that I was talking about earlier. And this allows you to, like I said, adjust the color of the display for the type of lighting condition that you're in. So to see it without, so if I press this, as you can see, this display kind of gets cold or blue. So this is without, that's with it turned on. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, so go ahead and continue. And then this is just some of the quick how-to on going home and using the new feature or gesture system. That's the multitasking, quick access to control center. And then here we are. Welcome to iPhone, and we're ready to use it. So swipe up. There we go. So right here, we are now officially on the home screen. Okay, anyway, so first thing you'll notice, because of that notch on the very top, you see the time is now on the left side and the battery and Wi-Fi indicators as well as your cellular network connection is also on the right hand side. Now, you do lose battery percentage with the iPhone X, unfortunately, because there is no longer room to put it in the status bar. The way you need to be able to see the battery percentage is you do have to pull down the control center like so. And right there, you can see, now you can see the battery percentage on the device. So that's the only way to see the battery percentage. Unfortunately, you cannot see it throughout the entire OS, which is really kind of unfortunate. Anyway, so that's basically it for this unboxing video. Make sure to stay tuned for my full review, where I'll be covering everything this phone has to offer and showing you all the gesture-based stuff and everything that this phone offers pretty much. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button as well. If you guys have any questions or comments, drop them in the section below and I'll get back to them as soon as I possibly can. So yeah, with that all being said, hope you guys have enjoyed and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.